You're paying $2 for a shirt, but someone else is paying the real price. Imagine buying a dress for less than the price of a meal. Imagine scrolling through hundreds of new styles every time you open an app. Imagine fashion that arrives at your doorstep faster than you can decide what cup of coffee to order. Now ask yourself, what's the cost of those cheap clothes? Not just in money, but in people, in the environment, and in the future of fashion itself. That's not just shopping anymore, it's a system. And no company has mastered that system better than Shein. This is the story of Shein, the Chinese online fashion giant that has reshaped the way the world dresses. But behind the glossy photos and trendy hauls lies a much deeper and more troubling reality. Just a decade ago, Shein was a tiny, almost unknown online clothing store in China. Nobody outside a small group of shoppers paid attention to it. But by the mid-2010s, things began to change. Shein entered the global market, and in 2015 it launched in the United States. What happened next stunned the industry. While many fashion brands struggled to adapt to online sales, Shein exploded. Its sales grew so fast that traditional retailers couldn't even keep track. By the early 2020s, the company was generating tens of billions of dollars in revenue. It was selling more clothes to more people in more countries than almost any fashion store in history without owning a single physical shop. Young people around the world, especially Gen Z, began showing off bundle after bundle of Shein purchases on social media. Hashtags like #SheinHaul racked up billions of views. What started as a bargain hunt became a global phenomenon. Yet for all that success, very few understood how Shein actually worked. Fashion used to work on seasons. Designers created collections months in advance. Factories produced tens of thousands of pieces. Stores waited weeks to receive them. Shein changed all that. Instead of seasonal cycles, Shein operates in what experts call ultra-fast fashion, a model so fast, so responsive, it feels like trends are created in real time. Here's how it works. Shein releases thousands of new items every day. Not every month, every single day. It starts with a small number of clothes, sometimes only a couple of hundred units. Then it watches what people do online. If an item gets attention, clicks, likes, saves, shares, Shein makes more of it. If nobody seems to care, that design disappears almost immediately. This system is driven by data and algorithms, not intuition or seasonal planning. Every time a shopper scrolls on the app, Shein records it. Every pause, every tap, every add to cart is a signal. Together, these signals tell the company what customers want even before the customers know themselves. The result is a model that responds so quickly that it makes other fast fashion brands, like Zara, seem slow by comparison. Zara was once the world's most talked about fast fashion brand. It brought runway trends to the streets in record time and built a huge global presence with hundreds of stores. But Shein didn't just catch up, it surpassed Zara in ways most people never expected. First, Shein's catalog is enormous. A typical fast fashion brand might release a few thousand new styles each year. Shein, on the other hand, pushes out hundreds of thousands of new items across its website. Shoppers can refresh their feed daily and never see the same clothes twice. Second, Shein's focus on online shopping without physical stores cuts costs. Zara still depends on in-store sales and inventory, which slows down its cycles. Shein ships directly from suppliers to customers, avoiding the delays and overhead that retail stores create. Third, Shein's use of data collection and fast production gives it a flexibility most brands can only imagine. Instead of guessing what will sell, Shein finds out what is selling instantly and adjusts production in real time. This isn't just an advantage in speed. It's an entirely new way of thinking about fashion, one that prioritizes quantities, trends, and clicks over quality, planning, and sustainability. Part of Shein's genius is psychological. Shein doesn't want you to buy one shirt. It wants you to scroll, browse, and keep discovering. Like social media platforms that show endless content, Shein shows endless clothing. Every scroll brings a new style. Every click resets your desire. It turns shopping into a game, a dopamine loop of novelty and possibility. Add to that, ultra-low prices that make buying feel risk-free, constant marketing on TikTok and Instagram, and influencer hauls that make viewers feel they need more. And suddenly shopping stops being a choice, it becomes a habit. This is why many Shein shoppers spend far more than they planned. The thrill of a bargain becomes an urge to collect more. And because the clothes are so cheap, they don't feel precious, they feel disposable. To understand how Shein keeps prices so low, you need to look behind the scenes. Shein doesn't produce everything itself. Instead, it works with thousands of small factories, mostly in China, that manufacture garments at incredibly low cost. These factories are efficient and fast, but there's a human cost to that. Investigations and reports have found that workers in some supplier facilities work long hours with limited breaks. In some places, employees earn very low wages, and working conditions are harsh. Shein claims it enforces strict standards, audits suppliers, and works to improve conditions. But the company does not fully disclose the locations and working conditions of these factories. Critics argue that without full transparency, it's impossible to know whether abuses are truly being prevented. The labor controversy isn't just about working hours, it's about accountability. Many of Shein's suppliers are contracted indirectly, meaning the company can claim it doesn't control them directly. But when a factory makes clothes specifically for Shein's platform, critics say, responsibility cannot be dismissed so easily. Shein's success might be about fashion, but its impact is much wider. Cheap clothes that are bought for a few dollars often don't last long. They are worn a few times, and then thrown away. And because many of these clothes are made from synthetic materials like polyester, they don't biodegrade. Instead, they break down into tiny fibers that pollute land, oceans, and ecosystems. It's estimated that Shein produces millions of tons of carbon dioxide annually, a staggering amount for a single company. That level of pollution is comparable to that of major industrial powerhouses. But unlike emissions from factories or cars, the fashion industry's pollution is silent. You don't see it in smokestacks or fumes. You see it in landfills filled with clothes that never get reused or recycled. This relentless cycle of production and disposal contributes to one of the most pressing environmental challenges of our time. Shein's journey to the top hasn't been smooth. The brand has faced accusations of copying designs from other companies and independent designers. Hundreds of intellectual property lawsuits have been filed against Shein over the years, alleging that the company sells garments that are nearly identical to those of other brands or creators. Some of these cases settled quietly, but the sheer number of disputes highlights a pattern. When profit and speed become the top priorities, ethical considerations often take a back seat. Beyond intellectual property issues, regulators in Europe have accused Shein of deceptive marketing practices, including fake discounts, misleading product descriptions, and poor customer service standards. If proven, these violations could lead to fines and sanctions in multiple countries. Another part of Shein's story is about taxation and logistics. For years, Shein has benefited from a tariff rule in the United States called the de minimis exemption, which allows imported packages under a certain value to enter the country without paying import duties. This gave Shein a cost advantage over American retailers. But that rule is changing, and as tariffs shift, Shein may need to adjust its pricing and operations. At the same time, Shein is expanding physically into markets it once only served digitally. In Europe, it announced plans to open permanent retail stores, something unthinkable just a few years ago. But this expansion has sparked protests from local retailers and lawmakers who accuse the company of undermining traditional fashion culture and contributing to environmental harm. Is Shein just a symptom of a bigger problem? Despite all the controversy, Shein isn't the only fast fashion brand accused of harming the planet or exploiting workers. Big names like Zara, H&M, and others have faced similar criticisms. Fast fashion, by definition, relies on rapid production and quick turnover, and that system has structural problems. Yet Shein magnifies these problems. Its speed, scale, and influence make it a lightning rod for criticism. In France, for example, protests erupted because Shein's ultra-fast fashion model was seen as a threat to local fashion values rooted in quality and durability. Some lawmakers even supported legislation to limit fast fashion advertising and hold companies to stricter environmental standards. This backlash shows that the debate around Shein is not just about one company, it's about the future of fashion and consumer culture. If you want the full story behind the clothes you wear, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. We're uncovering what big fashion doesn't want you to see.